Welcome to another episode of Finding Love. Today we are listening to you guys and we got some questions that we want to answer. Is this love or am I being controlled? As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's dive in.
Make me feel complete. It's OD, you got me, it's OD. Baby, you're all that I need. Now I can be what you mean to me. Boy, I know you need this.
More often than not, we're always talking about controlling men. But today we're going to hit on both sides because y'all ladies be controlling too. But the first thing, what are some of the signs of a controlling man?
One of the biggest signs is this man using his strength to protect you and make you feel safe? Or is he using it to control you, embarrass you, expose your fears, expose your vulnerability? Because men have to be able to disengage that piece of them when they're dealing with a soft woman. Coming up, we've always been told to exert our strength, to show that we're strong, to show that we can handle it on our shoulders. But you have to be able to turn that off and be able to shift your perspective and say, I'm handling her with care. I'm here to protect her. I'm here to make sure that if she needs to fall into my arms, my strength is to hold her up and make her feel safe. The controlling man doesn't do that. He uses his size and strength to intimidate you, to cast a shadow over you in an argument, to embarrass you in moments when you're most vulnerable. Because even when you're a little girl, it never changes where you want to feel safe.
Sure.
And sometimes past trauma shows up when you're an adult and you never had true clarity on what safety feels like. And guess what? You know who knows that the most? A controlling man. Because he's able to see clearly who he's dealing with early on.
Yeah.
And he's testing you. At first, he's going to establish his representative, but he's going to test where he can expose you and see if you'll still stay.
So good.
To challenge you and see if you still rock with him.
I think another thing is it's so much easier for the outsiders, your friends and your family, to notice these controlling behaviors than it is for you. Because the controlling man doesn't start off just barking orders.
No.
He's so sweet. He's so good to me. He asked me to be his wife, but your family is like, well, why don't you come around anymore?
That's right.
Why haven't you been to Sunday dinners in a long time? Your friends are like, so you can't hang out with your girls? Or they start to notice that you're dressing differently. So it's all of these things that maybe while you're in it, you're thinking, well, he just wants me to look a certain way. He just looking out for me, right? Or he knows that sometimes my friends can be a little toxic, so he's protecting me. No, a controlling man needs you to himself.
Yeah.
And he needs to know that something as simple as what you have on, I told you to wear that. I allowed you to wear that.
And that's so good. And you kind of mentioned it, is when you teach somebody your unwillingness to leave, that's when they're able to drop their representative and really expose who they are. That's where the toxicity creeps in. Because I've tested you and I know that you're not going to leave me if I press this button. And so that's where the controlling mechanisms come in. That's where he starts pushing the button on you. And you got to make sure that that deep voice and that strong voice, it should never get loud with you. That's not a masculine man. That is an insecure man. And an insecure man is controlling.
That's it.
Yeah.
Insecure men are typically controlling. You are not controlling because you need someone to direct or because you just know better than this woman. You're insecure. You're insecure that if she wears this certain outfit, somebody else might look at her. Or, she might attract attention from somebody better than me. Because there are people better than you. Or if she goes with her family and her friends, they might be in her ear. They might start to tell her things about me, or they might expose me of my insecurities. Another thing is, You usually see those controlling behaviors with men who just got popping.
Yeah.
All right, you was not popping as in grade school. You wasn't cute.
Facts.
You know, you wasn't an athlete.
Facts.
You just was like a little nerdy boy or
True.
whatever. Now you've been in the gym. You got a couple dollars. Now you popping.
Yeah.
And you're scared.
Yeah.
You're scared of that little boy who never got any play
Because you still him.
to come out.
That's right.
He in there.
Yeah.
He's in there. And now you're allowing your people, because best believe they got people, you're allowing them to say, man, you know, you got it. You should be out here. You this, and that, instead of allowing your woman to flourish.
And you know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of these men using submission and submit as a disciplinary term. They use it as a directive in an argument.
Yes.
And if they're doing that, they don't understand the true leadership that comes with submission. They don't understand that you're able to let somebody in on your playbook. They don't understand that, guess what? I am building trust with you so that when I turn and walk this way, you will follow me. So, and that's why submission has grown to have such a negative connotation, because these men have used it as you not submitting enough, you not doing this. And they pointing at you with a strong voice and aggressive voice in telling you.
Yeah.
And they usually bring it up when in conflict, in an argument, because a real man doesn't even have to bring up the word submission, because he understands that when he steps to you and the trust that he has been building with you, he's going to say to himself, that's going to be enough for her to trust me in the leadership of me and her. So submission will come as a reaction instead of a directive.
So good, because as a good woman, we naturally are considering you in everything that we do. We're considering you when we make every decision that we make.
That's right.
You ain't got to tell us to. You know, if we know we got some toxic friends or some friends that always got guys around, we naturally remove ourselves. We naturally say, okay, well, maybe she can only come to my house sometimes. Or maybe I'll talk to her, you know, every now and again, but we don't have the same values anymore.
Yeah.
We naturally do that. But the man who has to tell you to do that, the man who, or sneakily says, well, I just want to spend time with you. Is it bad that I just want to spend more time with you? You're always with them. That manipulative behavior is controlling and is demanding something from you that is unnecessary in a healthy relationship.
Yeah. And that's so good, because you also brought up the man that's not yelling at you. But he does it in a mild tone. But what you have to ask yourself is, how is that making me feel? Is he motivating me to be better? Or does this feel like he's poking at me and tearing me down? Or is he exposing some vulnerabilities in me and tearing me down? So you got to watch that guy too, because he's a little more calculated. But I will say this, for anybody, always watch your man in an argument, because that's where you'll see it the most. That's where you see him expose himself of who he truly is. That's where you really want to listen, ladies, because most ladies in an argument, they ready to battle. Man, I'm telling you right now, the most sought after woman is a woman that can hold her tongue and listen. Because men are expecting you to react. They're expecting you to engage. And then that's what they say, I got her. Now I can make my move. But that controlling man will never even know how to respond to a woman that just sits there and quiet and listen and say, what is he really saying to me? What does he really truly feel about me?
And the controlling guy who will knock your head off your shoulders is the one we already looking out for. Ooh,
You can see him coming.
You can see him, right?
Yeah.
But the guy who emotionally just tries to suppress everything strong about you, and he says, you know, you're overreacting, or he gives you the silent treatment as punishment, or, you know, he's saying, well, why don't you want to spend time with me? Am I not enough? That guy
That's right.
He's even scarier because he needs you beneath him at all times.
That's right.
He doesn't want you to start a business or get a career. He wants you to help him do his thing. He doesn't want you to have strong, vocal friends. He definitely don't want you to be my friend. I seen that girl podcast.
Yep.
She gonna build you up. No, thank you. He wants you to feel in a place of, I need you.
Yeah.
I need your money. He might tell you, quit your job.
That's right.
I got you. I got us. And then he controls you.
Yeah.
You go somewhere, you got to spend the limit on your card, or you got to ask for an allowance to get your nails done.
Yeah.
Please pump your brakes, sir.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go out, you have to ask for permission and give him all of the details of going out, instead of him trusting that you wouldn't go anywhere that is going to jeopardize us.
That's right.
So I really, really urge ladies to, like you said, think about how this person builds you up.
That's right.
If you are down, if you are crying, if you are confused, if you are longing for someone to just help you in some type of way, or if you are always feeling misguided or misled or, fearful of anything better in your life, it's probably because of that controlling partner. Yeah. And that person who is telling you to be a helpmate, help me run my business, help me do my thing, don't do yours, do me, do my stuff. He is controlling you in a way that will keep you underneath him. Yeah. And that is not love. Yeah. Even though we're building together, even though as a unity and a partnership, we're always building together, the person who does not want you to build yourself individually as well, it's not love. It's not love.
And I know my wife has a lot to say about these controlling women, but one last thing that I feel like it kind of just hit my heart to say is, do not get confused on a man that wants to lift you up with a controlling man. Because a controlling man will try to audit your friends and try to separate you from everybody. But guess what? The man for you will also look at your friendships and be able to look and have conversations with you. Because he also wants his soon-to-be wife with wife-like friends. Yeah. Friends that are positive, that are feeding into her. So if he sees a toxic friend, a good man will talk to you about it. Let you know his notes. He will provide that counsel to you. So controlling in a man that is trying to lead you to be your maximum self, make sure you can feel it. And you can feel if he's doing it in love. And you can ask yourself the question, is this good for me? Is this going to be a positive in my life? And is this going to feed me? So make sure that you can see a clear line between controlling and a man that is trying to help you get to your maximum self.
Yeah. So now we got to move over to these controlling women, because that is a thing. It's so acceptable to be like, oh yeah, my woman always complaining, right? And that's like a thing, right? Women nag, right? No, that is a form of control. Complaining, demeaning, emasculating, someone who is constantly telling you what you're doing wrong or why you're not right or how you should be better or what you need to change is controlling you. She's keeping you in a box that makes you feel inadequate. She's keeping you in a space of you'll never be good enough. Or keep trying, and maybe I'll give you a brownie point over here. She's dangling it. You want this, don't you? Well, do better. When a real woman, a good woman in a healthy relationship is working so much on herself, she's leading by example. Yeah. She is leading by example, fellas. She is not complaining about every single thing. She's processing in her own mind, well, why am I mad at this? Why does this bother me so much? How can I alleviate this? Is this a deal breaker? She's thinking about all of these things before she ever even brings it up. Okay? She is not immediately saying, you never help. Dang. Never put the dishes up. You seen these groceries? You ain't clean the baby stuff. Like, come on. Ladies, it is time to think critically about who you chose as a partner. And if you are constantly feeling like they are an inadequate partner, if you're still dating, this might be a sign. But if you're married, you have to consistently go back to why you married this person. And consistently go back to those vows that you gave before God, saying through sickness and health. Was this person always this person? And now all of a sudden you're going through a change in your life where this just doesn't feel right anymore? And if that's the case, that's a you thing. That is not a him thing. That is still the man you married. That is still the man you vow before God to love through everything. So stop complaining and nagging him over every little detail, unless you're just a controlling woman, and that's what we're talking about.
Because I've seen men also be isolated by women. I've seen guys lose some of their closest friends because he chose this woman. And really what she was doing was she was reacting out of past trauma. But guess what she also did? She took away his closest confidants. Fellas need a brotherhood. They need at least one brother, okay? Because when it's time to ride out and you got that dude right there, hey, you got somebody you can call, all right? And when I say ride out, look, we're not talking about going out here to fight or do all of these things, but sometimes you just always got to have one homeboy in the chamber that you can call on. And so I've seen those women isolate that man and keep him all the way to herself. I've seen that type of controlling. I've also seen a woman that's controlling that is dynamic. She's strong, but she lacks the ability to compromise. She lacks the ability to hear somebody out. Although that is not maliciously manipulative, it is controlling, because I've seen that woman try to control the relationship, try to control parenting, try to control what typically would be a man's job in leadership, has lost that role. And so now there's confusion in the relationship. The relationship suffers because there is not a clearly defined role, because there is one person in control. And in that scenario, which I've seen in more than one occasion, the woman is in control. And there's never, ever going to be a relationship that works when one person is in control. And when the woman is trying to establish the role of leader in the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, in a healthy relationship, the right woman is going to nurture and inspire. She's going to help you level up. She's going to want you to want more. And a part of wanting more and being more and getting to it is having, close resources and friendships and networking time. It's having some relationships outside of the household. It is about that man being a man. Let him go golf. Let him go play basketball. Let him go to the bar and watch the game. Like, all of those things are positive sources of energy. In a man and a woman, we need that energy from our friends. We need our family. It takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to stay in a good marriage. You need people pouring into you from all fronts. But I think it's important to note that someone who is controlling, they can't be fixed. You will not fix this controlling person. This controlling person has something in them that they got to work on. They trying to keep you under them, or trying to keep, you doing exactly what they want you to, because something internally is messed up. They got some insecurities and some deep-seated hate of everything that's happening around them that you can't fix. Identifying these controlling behaviors and knowing that this is in the outside realm of a love is essential to making sure that you're protecting you and your household. Because guess what? Those kids, they see it. They see it. They see mommy tells daddy what to do. Mommy always, determines what we eat or where we go or when we do it. Mommy makes all the decisions. And guess what? If you're raising a little boy, you're teaching him that the woman is in control, which is crazy. And if you're raising a little girl, you're teaching her that the woman is in control, which is crazy. So everything you do in a relationship is reflective of your partner. It's going to be representative of what your kids see. And it can be more damaging to everybody around you than it is even to you.
Yeah.
You know?
You brought up a key word here is fix. And I think if you're in a relationship with that controlling person and you're trying to fix that relationship, what you're going to end up doing is trying to fix you. And you're not the one that need fixing. And so you're going to be chopping down pieces of you and editing pieces of you that are the best parts of you. And if you do that long enough, sometimes you'll even forget how to operate in your power and operate within the best pieces that made you you.
Yeah. I also think that a lot of times when you're in these controlling situations, your mind is saying, but I remember when he was so good, or I remember when she was the best.
That's right.
That was their representative. This is who they are.
That's right.
Or you're longing for you guys to get back to that one time.
That's right.
You know that's what crackheads do. They trying to get that first high over and over and over. Insanity, right? And so you're trying your hardest to get back to that place. Or you're even thinking that they'll change. And you're praying for them to change. In a marriage especially, you will not be able to change anybody. We who we are, right? All you can do is pour into that other person, set the example for that other person, and try to love on yourself and on them as much as possible through anything. And in doing that, you will see if somebody is reciprocating that love and that nurturing and that uplifting, inspiring, tone in the relationship, or if they're trying to say, you stay right here. You stay just underneath me. You need me. You can't leave me.
That's right.
And that tone combating someone who is trying their hardest to make things right will kill you inside. You'll be the one dying inside. They living their best life. That controlling person is not losing sleep. You over there counting sheep, you trying to take some magnesium, melatonin, you're doing all the things. They sleeping good because I got my thumb. I have my thumb on top of this person. They got my back. I know they ain't leaving. And I'm in control of this whole situation. That is not a partnership, and those are not the ingredients of a healthy relationship.
And that's why so much of what we talk about are setting boundaries. And we set boundaries because we want you to protect yourself and the relationship. What happens so often in relationships, because we don't set these boundaries, we have all this time that passes by and we get comfortable. But if you have these boundaries in place, we can set the tone for a healthy relationship. And what you can also do is you can spot out when the representative of that other person or that bad actor left. Because this is what you can look at. When was the first time you showed your unwillingness to leave? And I promise you, I know you can line that up when that person showed themselves to you, when they exposed who they truly were. And when you showed your inability to leave, that's when the toxicity crept in. And now you're still chasing to try to get back to how they were treating you in the beginning. But you've already showed that because you're not going to leave, now they can engage who they really are.
So I know some people are like, okay, but how did I get here? How did I get into this relationship? And I think that abuse comes from them being able to identify your insecurities and your lack of self-awareness. if you have no clue what your worth is, they could tell you what it is. Okay? And that's why when you're dating, before you get out here and expose your vulnerabilities and all of your insecurities to someone, you need to be so strong in knowing who you are. And a lot of people don't do that work. That work and that self-worth and character building needs to happen before you date anybody.
That's right.
So you left the window open.
Yeah.
They said, oh,
Got her.
I got him.
Yep.
You know, he's not sure of himself.
Yep. Right.
He's insecure about some things.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't even know how fine she is. She don't even know how smart she is.
That's right.
I tell you,
Yep.
I let you know, I keep you right here.
Yep.
And it's also important that for women especially, sometimes control looks like safety. Sometimes you feel like
He loves me.
he loves me so much that he's protecting me against these toxic people in my life. That he's protecting me against predators, because if I wear those revealing clothes, somebody gonna rape me.
That's right.
Please, stand down. Let me get my own safety net, okay? You know, and I think that sometimes you feel so protected in this bubble because you love this person so much, you don't realize how much they've eliminated out of your life that you still want it there.
That's right.
I said, well, I'm gonna talk to my mama.
That's right.
I still love my best friend. Yeah. It's so important that you're not out here just trying to diagnose. Everybody want to be a narcissist, a gaslighter, a manipulator, or this or that. Okay, let him go to a therapist and figure that out for himself. Stop trying to diagnose. Start looking at what's actually happening and how I feel through this situation. Because the moment that you see, this ain't lining up. I don't talk to nobody.
Yeah.
I haven't had any time with my family and friends.
That's right.
I've only been with him, but he's been out with his friends.
That's right.
What's up with that?
That's right.
You know, and for men, a lot of times the controlling woman can take your insecurities and magnify them.
That's right.
She done took them to another level on you. You're like, wait, I'm not that handsome. I'm not that smart, you know. And because she's exposed those insecurities and heightened them, you start to think, oh, who else gonna want me?
Yeah.
Where would I go from here?
Wow.
She's still the best thing that ever happened to me, even though she is a little complaining, little, you know.
But that's normal, right?
It's
that's
not, right? Everybody's wife is complaining. What's up? Start to look at how you're feeling in that situation and then identify what key things are happening that is eliminating you from being your best self. In a healthy relationship, you're going to be a better you.
On that note,
that's those.
So, if you are wondering if somebody is loving you or controlling you, all you have to do is look at, are they feeding into you? Ask yourself, is this helping me grow and helping this relationship evolve? Or am I feeling less than? Am I feeling chipped away? Am I not feeling beautiful like I used to? You have to make sure that whoever you choose to be with, because it is a choice, is empowering you. And it's not always going to be easy, but it will be worth it because you will feel challenged to be a better version of yourself instead of being challenged to be the version that they want you to be. So, cheers to you because you are enough and you deserve a person that's gonna pour into you and bring the best out of you. Cheers. We are finally here at season 2 and we could not have done it without any of you.
We're talking all stages of relationships, from dating to courting to marriage to reaching that forever status.
We are bringing all the true stories to the forefront, and guess what? This year we're coming back bigger, better, and stronger, and it's all because of all of you.
So stay tuned for what we're going to do next. We are on all platforms at I Am Finding Love, and be sure to subscribe to our website at iamfindinglove.com.
And do not forget, tune in each and every Friday as you keep asking us questions and we keep delivering the answers.
Baby, you're all that I complete. It's OD, you got me, it's OD. Baby, you're all that I need. Now I can be what you mean to me.